I'm currently the board chair of the Board of Trustees at Lake Tahoe Community College, and I'd like to introduce my fellow trustees to you. In the audience, we have Carrie David, Jeff Cowan, and virtually attending are Nancy Dalton, Tony Sears, and our student trustee, Jigo Ocampo. The Lake Tahoe Community College Board of Trustees appreciates the presence of our community members, business partners, Lake Tahoe Unified School District, City of South Lake Tahoe, and El Dorado County. We are grateful to you for your continued support. Welcome today to our very special and supportive foundation members. We appreciate all that you do for us. And welcome back to campus to our amazing faculty and staff. And a great big thank you to the administrators and staff who've been here throughout the summer, behind the scenes, and making today possible. Today is the day we review, acknowledge, and appreciate all that Lake Tahoe Community College experienced and accomplished in the last academic year. It went by quickly and it morphed often, so you may have forgotten some of the details, and Jeff's going to present those to you. It was a wild ride, but Lake Tahoe Community College United is truly small but mighty. The Board of Trustees is continually awed by your fortitude and ability to maintain focus on success of our students despite a pandemic and a wildfire and evacuation and anything else that was thrown at you. We are very proud to be your Board of Trustees, and we commend each and every one of you for your very hard work, commitment, and loyalty to one another and to the mission of the success of students. Today is also the day that we look forward to all the possibilities of a new academic year. President Jeff DeFranco and your admin team have been hard at work strategizing for a great year. Under their leadership, you can be assured that Lake Tahoe Community College will maintain its momentum, upward trajectory, and standards of excellence. The Lake Tahoe Community College Board of Trustees is one in its support of the success of Lake Tahoe Community College, President DeFranco, and the goals for this year. Please let me welcome you once again to the Lake Tahoe Community College State of the College and President Jeff DeFranco.
Thank you. All right, well, welcome everyone. Great to have you all here. Quick little set change. So first off, greetings to all our in-person guests here with me in the theater, our students, employees, board members, our foundation board members, our donors, many of our community partners, many of our public safety leaders and partners here are joining us. We also have greetings to everyone here next door in the University Center. We have a crowd about this size right next door in the University Center watching on the live stream. Thanks for tuning in. And finally, welcome to everyone that's out there all over the community joining us in the live stream, being part of this event. It's amazing that we're here. Wow, we made it. We are going to start school on Monday. It's going to happen. This, I'm going to have to say, is the start of the school year like no other. The campus is turned 47 years old this year, and we haven't quite been here before, right, with everything we've been up against. We have decent skies outside, right? I mean, we have a livable AQI, which, yeah, woo, right? Every morning when I wake up, I was like, can we breathe today? Which is just quite a contrast to where we were exactly 3 weeks ago today. So if you remember, 3 weeks ago today is when Christmas Valley initially went on evacuation warning, and we were dealing with daily air quality index in excess of 300 and upwards to 500, 600, 700, right? So it's been a very challenging year and definitely a very challenging month. But it's not just the impact of the fire that our entire community was evacuated, but we have faced more than a year and a half of ambiguity, change, and stress brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic, right? So we've been dealing with a lot as a community. I've thought a lot about what I could say today that is compelling, worthy of your time, and that really captures everything that we've been through as a campus and a community. I can tell you one thing. This speech is very different than the one I had planned a month ago. I definitely want to take some time to look back at our shared experience, but also celebrate our successes and thank our local partners and heroes, many of whom are joining us today. And I also have some very exciting news to share throughout the presentation. But before we get to the celebration, we must take a look back on what we've been through as a community. It's left a very heavy emotional toll on many of us, a physical toll on others, a financial toll. As a community, we've experienced a collective trauma and loss, not just through our recent experience with the Caldor Fire, but also through our experiences with the pandemic. And this last year was filled with a notable amount of personal loss here on our campus community. Many in our community are still facing hardships, dealing with ongoing grief and loss. And I want to let you know that as an organization, we're going to strive to demonstrate compassion to you. And all I ask is that you extend that same compassion to our students and with your peers. So I want to take a look at where we're at with the Caldor Fire and where we've been, right? Because I don't think we can move forward as a community without looking back to what we just experienced. So these are some of the stats that were from last evening, right? The fire was at nearly 220,000 acres burned. We know that there were 782 single homes lost. It was a little over 70% contained. It had been active over 30 days and burning in 3 counties in our region, right? So pretty significant. Yet it's not even the largest fire in the North State right now. So these are the issues we're dealing with here in California. And we did have some good fortune inside the basin. But despite that, we are still collectively impacted by this fire. And while we're blessed because we did not lose any homes inside this basin, we know that more than 700 were lost in our expanded region and El Dorado County community. Additionally, many of us are mourning the impact on our environment and the wildlife and all the things that we love about Lake Tahoe. And I want to look back to just, how amazing this has been. So this is an evacuation map from September 1st. This was probably at the peak of the mandatory evacuations. And you can see all the red areas are mandatory, yellow are on warning. And I want to show you the college district line, the area that we are designed to serve. That's our entire college district was under a mandatory evacuation. Right, so this impacted so many of our employees, so many of our students, our neighbors, our friends, our family. And as we look back to this fire, I want to kind of take us through some of those shared emotions we had. This was on Monday night, August 30th, when the fire was backing down from Echo Summit. I think many of us were thinking like, oh my goodness, it made it to the basin. How did this happen, right? Kind of our worst fears were potentially going to be realized. We went to bed that night, restless, checking the news, social media, anything you could see. What's going on? What's up with my house? What's up with my neighborhood? Living in the Myers neighborhood, I definitely felt that. We woke up the next morning, and we didn't always have, it wasn't immediate when you get access to the fire map. So we were going to anything we could. We were looking at like Google Earth or Zoom. And many of us woke up to things like this, these heat maps that appeared that potentially our neighborhoods were fully engulfed. And these weren't just our neighborhoods where we live, but our family, our friends, and our loved ones. Many of us here were actually out fighting that fire. Many of us on this campus had loved ones and peers out fighting that fire and supporting that fire. But what we began to find out as the information was shared is that there was a heroic effort. And somehow, we were able to come back to images like this, where that house was, left unscathed, standing, yet the fire was right up against our doorstep. And we've heard a lot about these efforts. I'm going to talk more about them in a bit, and really everyone that made this possible, because it was absolute Team Tahoe effort. But it wasn't just that experience of the fire and the evacuation. We've been smoked out here in Tahoe for most of the summer. Right, the Dixie Fire, the Tamarack Fire, and then the Caldor fire. This is from the Caldor fire. I mean, look at that smoke line. Like, right, the college is in there somewhere, right? We were living under that smoke. It wasn't healthy to go outside. We couldn't sometimes go to work. Our businesses were being shut down due to the smoke. This photo on the right is a photo I took of Emerald Bay as I was leaving the West Shore, right before they closed the West Shore route out. And it was eerie. It was silent. It should be filled with people recreating in August. But instead, you know, it looked like a smoky coastal island. In our community, we were dealing with AQI, you know, 500, 600, 700. This was from a day that it was showing over on this side, actually, a day that it was showing South Lake Tahoe as one of the most polluted city in the entire US. This is actually from some purple air sensors that we now have at the Lake Tahoe Community College campus, one on our library, one on our main building, and we have one coming online at our LTCC soccer field. And the reason for this is that we know that this challenging air quality sadly is not going away. We made this investment in this decision at the end of last summer, and it's not only just to serve us so we can make good decisions as campus leaders, but also to support our community so they could get data about the air quality in our region. Thankfully, we've been able to return to something more like this. These were our air quality sensors on Monday. Right? The silver lining of this is we did have to close due to many of these air quality concerns. But the silver lining is because of our COVID experience, we knew how to quickly flip our services online to virtual services. We were better prepared to continue to stay open even if we couldn't physically be on campus. I want to share one other thing with you about air quality just because I know a lot of folks are asking me, you know, what are the decision points? So anytime the AQI sensors, we use the IQ Air, right? So IQ Air or Air Visual app are the things you should look up. Anytime the Lake Tahoe Community College air sensors are above 150, we cancel soccer games, practices, community education, outdoor camps. We bring our maintenance workers inside. So that's basically our threshold for no outside events. If it's above 300, sadly, we now have to have a smoke day, right? We know snow days in this community, but they're more joyous, right? You know, you think of your kids being able to be outside and play in the snow. I look forward to snow days, right? It means the skiing's gonna be good, the forest is gonna get the water it needs, but smoke days are now part of our experience here living in the North State. So pivoting back to the fire experience, I wanna share a couple insights that I had. I had the privilege of being invited to the city's Emergency Operations Center Cooperators Daily Meeting. It was a great way for me to get information to inform our decisions, but I also got to see behind the scenes the level of collaboration that was taking place. And there's so many agencies to honor and recognize. This is by no means an exhaustive list, right? But it's meant to acknowledge the agencies that joined in the fight against the Caldor fire, as well as the public agencies that provided key support behind the scenes. And of course, while not on this slide, we want to thank all the agencies from up and down the state of California and from throughout the nation that were here to support our community, right? Coming to our community to help us. Absolutely. And many of these agencies not only supported with the firefight, but also getting us safely evacuated and then repopulated as soon as it was safe into our homes and into our neighborhoods. And today is also the first day of school at the K-12, right? Amazing that we are back here today. So I want to hit some of the high points. So first and foremost, to our firefighters, right? We cannot... You know, what a huge debt of gratitude to our local fire agencies, CAL FIRE, and all these other fire agencies. And what I loved in my neighborhood the other day, I saw some guys from North Tahoe, and I was like, hey, thanks for coming down to the South Shore. You know, we'll try and be better hosts next time. But just all these firefighters that showed up to support us and take care of this community we love. But also our police professionals, those in the Emergency Operations Center, all the planning they were doing behind the scenes to support keeping our communities and our homes safe. The El Dorado County Sheriff Office, I love this, you know, doing a little work, you know, got the gun on the hip, but also the shovel mopping up the fire, right? Talk about wearing multiple hats. But also our public agency partners, like never forget that here at Lake Tahoe Community College, we're public servants. And what I was amazed that during the fire, when we were under mandatory evacuation, our neighbors at STPUD their operators were coming into town daily to ensure that the water lines had pressure, making adjustments to make sure that the firefighters had the water pressure they needed to protect our community. Our neighbors and friends over at LTUSD, their bus drivers were providing evacuations, even after most of us had left for those who had been left behind. TTD was doing the same, as well as providing a shuttle up to the Emergency Operations Center. And even our business partners down at the casino corridor, hospitality, they were opening up their doors and their kitchens to support this huge force of individuals that had came to fight this fire. And so for me, that was my big takeaways. First, again, that debt of gratitude to our firefighters and all our public safety professionals, but also how many folks behind the scenes, agencies that were supporting this. So if we could go ahead and bring up the house lights. I know many of these folks are joining us here today. I want them, if your agency is represented on this slide deck, please stand up so we could give you our debt of gratitude and a thank you for your efforts. I could assure you there was quite a roaring cheer over from that University Center building as well. So here we are, right? Something that really seemed impossible just a couple weeks ago, the thought of us all being back in our homes, back at the workplace, back in our community, but it happened. And so now it is time to welcome home South Lake Tahoe, right? And I'm pleased to announce and share today that the Lake Tahoe Community College is partnering with the City of South Lake Tahoe and the Boys and Girls Club, a very deserving local nonprofit, to host this Tahoe Strong event to really recognize all our public safety professionals, celebrate what it takes to build a resilient community. There will be opportunities. This will take place on Saturday, September 25th, so mark your calendar. Please join us. There will be opportunities to join together with your neighbors and friends. There will be opportunities to thank our public safety professionals. There will be a wall of thanks where you can leave your thoughts and your feedback and your gratitude. There'll be many fun games for kids and things of the such. So really want to encourage you to come out for that so we can really formally welcome home Tahoe and thank all our great partners. But it's already happening, right? Organically, if you drive around town, you see signs of support everywhere, and rightfully so. Everyone's trying to reach out and say, how can we say thank you? And part of what we wanted to do today as a college was to take our moment to say thank you as well. So I want to share a video that will give you a little look into our community's thanks. right? Could you feel the love in that video, right? It's pretty evident. So I also want to talk about the impact on our students and the Student Wildfire Relief Fund that we've provided. I know, talking to many of our students, the evacuation was very challenging for them. They experienced loss of income from their jobs and financial hardships due to the need to travel to family or to find lodging. We received a lead gift from the California Community Colleges Foundation for $10,000 to provide these $250 grants to our students to help offset their expenses. We notified students of this last Sunday, and I could tell you that by early this week, we already had more than 100 applicants, and tomorrow we're already awarding our first round of grants, totaling $25,000 to these students. What about that for speed? So the list is much greater than that initial $100,000. So if you so feel inclined, if you're on the live stream, if you're watching, you're in front of a computer, go to ltcc.edu/donate, and you could select the Wildfire Relief Fund if you want to support our students so they could get back on their feet and back to school. All right, so obviously, you know, fire is very top of mind for all of us here. The impact on our environment is very top of mind for all of us. But I can tell you, you know, it's something we've been thinking about at the college for a while, and really definitely for the past couple summers, as we dealt with more of these catastrophic fires, right, that are taking over our state. And what I wanted to know, what I want to share is how we could help, right? Help is clearly wanted. What can we do to assist? One of those things is our new forestry program, right? And now let me tell you a little bit about it. Students in this forestry program will learn the science behind how forests burn and how forests become more resilient. They will also gain the knowledge necessary to increase the pace and scale of active forest management in and around the Lake Tahoe Basin and the entire western United States, right? We know this is needed more now than ever. This program is funded by the California Tower Conservancy and the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. You also know them as CAL FIRE, and it's part of the California Climates Investment Program. This program will launch here on this campus in fall 2022. It was made possible by nearly an $800,000 grant from these agencies. It's going to lead to certificates, associate science degree, transfer opportunities to pathways and four-year University of Forestry programs. But most importantly, it's going to lead to a prepared workforce to help meet the needs of our state in our region. Why does forest management matter? I'm sure by now, who's seen this image? Who read this article, right? The Christmas Valley Miracle, right? It's a very compelling article. First and foremost, it talks about the heroic efforts of our firefighters. It also shares that we did have some favorable conditions when the wind shifted, but also the impact of forest management that helped slow the progression and help level the playing field for our public safety professionals. Our Dean Brad Deeds, who's over both our Fire Academy and our forestry program, shared that he believes this will go down in history in a lesson in the wildland-urban interface firefighting. That actually our future forestry students will be learning how forest management practices aided in keeping fire away from the homes in Christmas Valley, Myers, and South Lake Tahoe. There is some insight that's already been shared from the Tahoe Fires and Fuel team. This is their information I'm going to share here with you today. I want to give you some context for consideration, a couple disclaimers. First and foremost, the Caldor Fire is not yet contained, and we know fire season isn't over. And I think nearly 1,000 structures have been destroyed in our greater community. So there is some success here, but obviously there is still a lot of grief and mourning. First and foremost, weather, topography, and fuels, we know that they collectively drive fire behavior. But evidence has shown that treatments and preparations help, but they are by no means the only factor determining fire behavior or firefighting effectiveness. In the coming weeks, agencies will have the ability to continue to collect information and learn more about what influenced the fire's behavior in firefighting operations. But there are some successes, and here's the early successes that they shared. Reports from firefighters indicate that in some areas, fire behavior changed from 150-foot flame lengths, kind of what you see on this left-hand side, to 15-foot flame lengths when the fire entered fuel reduction areas, which allowed firefighters to take more aggressive suppression actions. Firefighters also relied heavily on fuel reduction areas to construct containment line, and these open space treatments and the defensible space and home hardening efforts of residents also helped firefighters control the fire's edge, catch spot fires, and have safer working areas to contain the blaze. So it does make a difference. What can we do here on our campus? One of our actions for this year is to focus on a fire-prepared campus. I could tell you that future administrations over the past couple decades have taken great care of this campus, and it has been managed with fire prevention in mind. But now it is time for us to reinvest. We'll be hiring a third-party firm with independent arborists and forester to inform LTCC with concrete actions that we could take on the 160 acres or so that we steward to do our part to protect this community. So that's what we'll be doing here at LTCC. But we know this forest management matters, especially in this wildland-urban interface. This is a photo from my neighborhood in Myers. This is reflective of many public lands in our community. There's a lot of public land directly adjacent to our neighborhoods. And we know that our forest management has been under-resourced by both the state and federal government, and that we now need a new generation of forestry professionals to meet these needs so we don't end up with forest management decisions that look like this. Finally, I will make a final plug for all of us as homeowners to do our part. Yeah, I know. Look at that guy with the chainsaw, right? Looks a little different than the suit. This was me with my 3 neighbors. I mean, every night we were out there on that terrible AQI. We were raking pine needles, lemon trees, doing everything we could to make our space more defensible and do our part to support the firefighters if they were dealing with spot fires and whatnot. But to be clear, we don't want to leave it up to this guy, right? We need trained professionals to bring forest management to our community. Help is wanted, and we're here to help provide it. So in addition to actively managing our forests, I mean, of course, our fire academy plays a key role in serving our basin in our region. This is a fire academy graduating class from 2017. This is a photo on this side of our fire cadets in their program. And these are actually 2 of our fire academy grads. I want to share with you that every LTCC fire academy class grad from class 15 was on the Caldor fire at one point, right? Imagine that. They graduated last June, and less than 2 months later, they are here fighting fires to save their home community. I think we got 1 or 2 of our fire academy grads from recent classes here with us today. If you're here, can you stand up so we could see you? Oh, we got 4. Thank you. So awesome, right? I mean, what better purpose for us as a college, right? I mean, could you be more compelled by any of our programs right now in terms of what we are here to do? So I want to share some investments that we're continuing to make in this important program and some additional resources that we're seeking so we can ensure that Lake Tahoe Community College provides a pipeline of resources for our local regional fire agencies. I want to share the progress on our Tahoe Basin Public Safety Training Center. On this map, you can see the existing PE building and the library, and then the space for this Tahoe Basin Public Safety Training Center, as well as a significant training tarmac. We had our initial project proposal approved by the Chancellor's Office last year. We, this past July, submitted our final project proposal. So similar to our other state construction projects, we are out getting state approval and state matching funds to make those a reality here in our community. We've also done a significant redesign of this facility based on feedback from many of our public agency partners at our local fire districts and our fire academy leadership. The new facility the vision for the facility includes indoor training space, including a place to park apparatus, expansion of interior training spaces, external staircases that allow for multiple laddering and bailout and rappelling points, expanded tarmac, and additional supports to really meet the needs of our program. It's also designed as a fire-resistant building, right, which makes a lot of sense here for us in the basin. So that we are out actively seeking resources. You'll hear today we've had a lot of success of bringing money into this college, and I'm committed to seeing this through and bringing this money to Lake Tahoe. But the good news is we do have some stuff that is moving forward as early as this summer. So you'll see these buildings 12A and 12B. They're 2 different facility equipment storage facilities. 12A is for our maintenance vehicles and our fleet. And then that 12B is going to be for our instructional equipment for our fire academy, for them to park an engine, their training tower, all their gear to start bringing them and providing an opportunity for them to come to campus, as well as our wilderness education. And that will be constructed and done by December 2022. What do we think about that? I also want to share, as part of our advocacy efforts, we are out there trying to get money toward the Public Safety Training Center and the Fire Academy. This year's efforts resulted in both Senator Feinstein and Senator Padilla submitting a request for Fire Academy training equipment, including a mobile ventilation training prop. The request is in the amount of $270,000. It's currently in budget considerations in DC, and we'll know later this fall if our request is approved. But we are definitely going to be pounding the pavement in Sacramento and Washington, DC to bring those resources to this community. So what is it? Out of the pot into the oven, right? From one crisis to another. I do want to pivot here and shift and talk about our COVID response, right? So I guess one bright spot of the fire and the terrible air quality is it took our mind off COVID for a couple weeks. You know, if you're looking for a silver lining. But we are now 18 plus months into the COVID pandemic, and we have been focused here on campus on risk mitigation for our employees and our students. We've been focused on supporting our community. We had a designated COVID testing site here through last spring. We also supported multiple vaccination clinics here on our campus, including this Barton drive-through clinic that you see photoed. And we did support our employees, right? That was another key thing, is getting vaccinations for our employees, especially our frontline essential workers, so we could be open through last year's winter months. And if you remember at the time, I know anyone could go into a pharmacy today and get a vaccine, but at the time, we were scraping to get 15 doses, 50 doses, 100 doses, so we could start working through our workforce and get folks vaccinated. And there's a couple folks and organizations that are here today that I want to recognize. If we could bring those lights on, Kurt. First is our partners at El Dorado County Office of Education, including the Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Ed Mansala. I want to let you know that Ed and his team, they were advocates for us down at the county saying, hey, we need these doses so we could keep our doors open and get students served. So I want to thank Ed for his great advocacy. And then also our partners over at South Lake Tahoe Fire Rescue, including Chief Savakul and Captain Kim George and others that actually came to campus and gave a lot of the inoculations. I know our EDCO team and our South Lake Tahoe Fire Rescue team are here. Could we turn the lights on so we could thank them personally from all of us here at LTCC? And he's I know many of us are appreciative. Look at Allie. Look how excited she was. I mean, have you ever seen somebody smile through a shot? Right, so getting the vaccines to our employees, that was definitely a key step of us being able to be open here today and even open up our services as early as last April. So what are we doing to manage the COVID pandemic? I know there's concerns about the Delta variant. Will this pandemic ever end? These are good questions. So first and foremost, we have a mask mandate on campus for our students and employees. It's pretty much mask wearing anywhere in a classroom, a common space. We have a couple of exceptions. If you're vaccinated in your private office or two-person office, you're allowed to have your mask off. We allow speakers for like TEDx and things like this, myself, to have our mask off. I will tell you that I did a daily rapid test every day this week from our risk manager to make sure I was ready here to present to all of you. But that's what we're doing to make sure that we're safe. Really, the masking is the first line of defense. And we know that this is one of the best ways we can keep our employees and students safe. Surgical masks are available for any student or employee at any entrance if you need one. And we all need to do our part. And I know many of us find us in a position of like, ooh, my mask is uncomfortable, it's not over my nose. And so I want to call upon one of our longest standing employees here, Danny Mansalonis, to giving us a reminder of how difficult it could be to keep those masks on. And we appreciate all your diligence in keeping your mask up. So Danny, I know you're out there. Good job there with the hand sanitizer at the end, but we're going to get you a new mask, nice LTCC branded one. That was actually Outwix. Danny was one of our essential employees that was basically on campus through the entire pandemic, and he was showing us around last year, and we just had a little fun with that. But yeah, we know it's hard, but we're all going to do our part. And I know when I put out a survey to our employees last June asking about mask wearing, a lot of folks said follow the guidance, but of course we don't love it. I mean, no one loves it. But one thing that was shared is a lot of our frontline employees say, hey, I don't want to be the mask police as a frontline worker. And so we're going to do everything we can to support you in that. I could tell you everyone on the senior leadership team has committed to being out and around, reminding folks that do proper mask wearing. We spoke with our full-time faculty about this yesterday, about what they could do in their classrooms. We're giving standard language for every syllabus. But we do have kind of our own mask police, and I want to introduce you to them. It's our campus security team, right? Yeah. Thanks, Lynn. And this is just a handful of them. As you know, there are more. But we still are going to have check-in on campus. Not every door is going to be open. We're going to have designated entrances. Folks will need to come in. They'll have to be wearing a sufficient mask. If they don't have one, we will provide them one for them. And the same for all our employees and any of our visitors. And they will be working to ensure that we have consistent mask wearing on this campus, at least through our entire fall quarter and maybe beyond. So be kind to them, support them, but if you need help, you could call upon the security desk for support as well. The other big thing that we have rolled out is a procedure for our employees that requires you to either provide a proof of vaccination to the district or participate in weekly testing. And what I want to share with you is this is very much in alignment with state and federal guidelines. What we're asking you to do as employees is no different than what's being asked of all California state employees and all our K-12 employee partners. And I know I want my kids to be safely in school, right? So let's stand beside our K-12 partners, do the same thing here, commit to the vaccination or the weekly testing. I could also share with you that we're doing this for some of our student cohorts. If you live in our housing complex, it's an option. You have to be vaccinated. We currently have 100% vaccination in our housing complex. If you participate in one of our cohort groups, such as the Fire Academy, they've been participating in mandatory weekly testing for the last year plus. Our soccer athletes who represent us and spend a lot of time together, they have a mandatory vaccine policy that goes into effect on or before October 1st. So we are doing things to help get our vaccination rate up on this campus, along with mask wearing and surveillance testing in order to keep all of us safe. I would also just share that the California Department of Public Health says, hey, just because you got the vaccine doesn't mean you should skip the testing. It's really a belt and suspenders approach, right? I could share with you, and the team has said it's okay for me to share this, the entire senior leadership team here, your campus leaders are 100% vaccinated, and we've also agreed to participate in testing, right? We spend a lot of time with each other in close, tight spaces, and we want to take care of each other, and surveillance testing and vaccinations and mask wearing is a way to do that. Also, we've made a lot of changes to our facilities while we've been gone. And even just in the last day or two at campus, if you've been walking around, you'll notice we have air filters and HEPA filters all over campus. Basically, every single office has one, every classroom. We've also, you'll see like that new AC unit that's in classroom A255. We installed a lot of new AC units throughout campus as well to bring in outside fresh air. And so a lot is being done by your risk management and maintenance team to make campus more safe for all of you. So it's really no one thing. All these things are the solution. The mask wearing, the testing, good contact tracing, and good quarantine rules and requirements, effective sanitation, and vaccines, right? All these together will be our strategy to be safe as a campus. And again, at the end of the day, it's about risk mitigation. We can't eliminate risk, but we're going to do everything we can to mitigate risk. So as we think about COVID, what impact has it had on our student body, right? We know it's been very financially challenging for many of our students and community, but I just want to give you some high-level stats. So this is our head count. You'll see in 2018-19, that was a red letter year for the college. We served more than 8,000 students, right? We had been on a multi-year uptrend. And even into fall 19, we were one of our biggest quarters yet. But then the pandemic struck, and many of our students had to drop out of school because of financial reasons, because they didn't find online working for them due to job and family considerations. And last year, as you could see, we served about 1,500 less students than just 2 years before. And this isn't about numbers. People are like, is this about budgets? Is this about enrollments? These are people. Every number is a person that's not able to get into our services to upskill, to get a degree, to get in, to become, go to our fire academy, whatever it is that they're trying to do, they're being left behind. Just in the last year alone, we have 300 fewer first-generation students. Those are students who are first in their family to go to college. We have 300 less of them this year. So I know a lot of folks are saying it worked. It did work. We did a great job bridging the gap. But we can and must do better. We must reopen our services to support our students. What about the impact of the fire? These are our daily enrollment trends. The blue line, that is 2019 fall. You'll see it kind of continues up and it usually gets a big bump before the start of the term. The green line is 2020 fall. That's our pandemic fall, right in the midst of the pandemic, kind of our worst time. And then the orange line is 2021 fall. And what you'll see with that 2021 fall is we were actually above 2019. We're getting really close to 2021. And then what happened here, right? This is mid to late August. And then this is around like August 27th to September 8th when we were all evacuated, or mandatory warning evacuations and mandatory evacuations, right? Our enrollment went flat. So there's many students that are being left behind due to these crises in our community. And we need to do everything we can to let them know the college is still here. We're open, we're available, we're here to serve them. So that way they can move forward and meet their goals. So what are we doing to support our students? One of the big things is we're providing financial support. So I'm excited to tell you about the LTCC CARES grant. I've announced this before. To date, 524 awards to students in the amount of $306,000 to students in our community. What about that? Pretty significant number. Students want our help, and I want all of us to let them know help is available, right? This is really focused on our students who've been impacted by the pandemic. We are going to continue this through the entire 2021-22 academic year. So if you know a student who's a first-time CARES recipient, they could qualify up to $750 awards. If they're a returning CARES recipient, they could qualify up to a $500 award each term just to stay in school, right? I mean, talk about an incentive to stay in school. But guess what? I have some much bigger news than this $300,000. This is actually one of the biggest announcements of the year. We know the students have impacted COVID in multiple ways, and it's left many students unable to pay past fees due to the college. Well, I'm here to share that due to some federal dollars we received, we are announcing a student debt relief plan where we are paying off up to $1,000 of debt owed to LTCC for tuition and fees for every student enrolled in the pandemic. This is more than 700 students during this pandemic that have debts owed, that are no longer enrolled. They have a combined debt of $300,000 of fees and tuition or more from spring 2020 through now. And historically, these students would just be prohibited from re-enrolling. They wouldn't be able to come back. But what we're saying now is we are able to do a one-time forgiveness of this debt, come back, get enrolled, get that degree, get the certificate, get the job done that you came here for. All right, so please, please, please spread this word to our students. So as we look back, you know, it is time to kind of celebrate. We did it. I mean, the pandemic isn't over, but we kept the college running through a very difficult time, through an extended closure, through virtual services. We should recognize it wasn't perfect. Our enrollment was down. We didn't always meet the needs of every student, but we did it. We kept moving, and we had many success stories for our students. We kept our employees employed. There was a lot of success that we should be proud of. But with both these crises, the fire and the pandemic, we need to recognize that we can't move on from experiences like these. But we do now need to move forward, right? What is next? And I could tell you, I envision and look forward to a time when we have a bustling campus again, when the campus is full of students, just like this in the Commons, except all with masks on, by the way. But we need this. Our students want it. Every student I talk to tells me they're excited to come back. They can't wait to take that face-to-face class. They didn't take the class during the pandemic because they wanted to take it face-to-face. They're ready to do it this fall. So I know with everything against us, it's easy to get down. But we need to remember that hope is our superpower. And don't let anything or anybody make us hopeless, right? Let's show that hope, that optimism, and show our students and community that we can do this. So I want to transition forward to the year ahead, right? There's a lot of questions outstanding. To be clear, we have a lot of answers, but we have a lot of unanswered questions. We get that. It's imperfect, right? Let's just be clear about that it's imperfect, and we're going to get comfortable with the imperfection, right? I know one thing that is asked of me a lot is, how are you making these decisions? I think sometimes folks think that, I'm just sitting in an office drumming up a decision, or there's a couple team members and we just decide things off the cuff. I'm here to let you know that a lot of work and a lot of collaboration, a lot of dialogue goes in these decisions. And when I'm stuck, what do? I use one of my lifelines. I phone a friend, right? I phone a friend, and I want to talk to you about who we talk to. Definitely during this fire incident, we're talking to public safety leaders, multiple conversations with the city manager, Dr. Todd Cutler, the K-12 superintendent, right? We were all talking. There's a lot of collaboration and dialogue. What are you going to do? What do you know? If you do this, how will it impact my organization? I know folks are always worried, but wait, what is the K-12 going to do? How's it going to impact our kid? Don't worry, we're talking. And I want to just highlight this. There is a level of collaboration right now between these community leaders at the public agencies. I'll include STPUD in that, and others, and our fire agencies that I haven't ever seen during my entire time here on Lake Tahoe. I'm also talking to all your employee group leaders, right? Going to them, asking for feedback, asking for input, getting their ideas. I have a deep Rolodex of mentors, folks that have been college presidents, who are recently retired, who are experts in the field, calling them, asking them for their feedback. We're in close conversation with the board, right? They're your community representatives, and especially that board leadership. We're talking to other statewide leaders, other community college presidents. The first thing I did when the fires started approaching our community is I reached out to the president at Shasta College and Butte College. They recently dealt with fires, one that came all the way to Butte College's doorstep. What did you do? How did you support your employees? How did you keep campus going? We are not making these decisions in isolation. We are very well informed, in fact. But it's challenging. And I know challenges are uncomfortable. But it's 2021, right? Life is full of challenges. We're going to have to get comfortable with it. A little sage wisdom here from Ted Lasso. I'm not sure if there's any Ted Lasso fans. Good, thank goodness. Taking on a challenge is a lot like riding a horse, isn't it? If you're comfortable while you're doing it, probably doing it wrong, right? It's uncomfortable. Let's get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I know we've been shot down. I try and be an optimist. I'm trying to make lemonade out of lemons, but at times I feel a lot like this, right? Anyone else feel like this recently? It just keeps coming and coming and coming. But we are still moving forward. It's, again, a miracle, thanks to our public safety partners and agencies in this community, that we are here today, and that on Monday we'll be able to welcome back our students. I realize, to our employees, I realize how much we're asking of you. It's going to be a tough year. I mean, let's not hide it. Let's hit it head on. We know it's going to be uncomfortable to do the mask wearing. We know there's concerns about COVID. And to be clear, it's going to be a bumpy start to the school year, right? We lost almost a month dealing with fire response. But we're going to get there. And at LTCC, the good news is we're prepared for this. We've been talking about and preparing for change. We know, and help me with these answers, we know sometimes when you start something new, what's there going to be? Implementation dip, right? We've been through this before. And we know at LTCC, sometimes we got to do a little bit of building the airplane while flying it, right? Like, we know this, and we're here before. And I want to introduce you to one other concept from a couple of our friends. This idea of pivot, right? And we're going to need to pivot a lot this year.
You know, just follow my lead.
Okay.
Come on, Shelley. All right, okay. Here we go. All right, ready? Yeah. Turn. Okay. Turn. Turn.
I don't think we can turn anymore. I just don't think it's gonna fit.
Oh yeah, well, come on, up. Up. Yes. Here we go. Pivot. 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 Pivot.
So if you hear me in the comments screaming, pivot, you'll know what to do. For those of you that are joining us for the first time here for this, we try and keep a little levity in this as well, because there's a lot of heaviness to everything we're dealing with. Yeah, right? Let's keep it light. So I want to get back to the original theme I had planned for this speech almost a month ago, Help Wanted. And I'm sure when you saw the postcard or the email invite, you're thinking, what's this about? Am I being invited to a job fair? Well, yes, kind of you are. Just to be clear, you're going to hear about some grants. We're hiring. We need our community to come join us here at LTCC. But this Help Wanted is bigger than a conversation just about jobs, right? It's not only wanted, help is needed for our students. Help is needed for this community right now, right? We have been through a lot. And I'm here to tell them, what am I going to tell them? Help is on the way, right? We are going to bring that help. But in order to do that, it's going to require leaders at all levels. The thing I like about this org chart, it doesn't matter what your title is, it's just leader. We're going to need everyone to step up and say, what can I do today to support my students, to take care of this student, to meet the needs of the community? We know our community has been significantly impacted. We know our local businesses have been significantly impacted. First by the pandemic, and now the fire evacuation during a huge tourist time. They're also struggling with staffing challenges. They need our help more now than ever. As you go throughout town, there's Help Wanted signs everywhere, right? Everyone is hiring. And I want to remind us, and this exists for the college too, the whole world is short-staffed. Please be kind to those who showed up. The college is short-staffed. We're all there. We have more needs than we have folks to do the work. But we all can make a difference by helping upskill our students so they could better serve our community, whether it's from hospitality to fire, forestry to business, right? We have a role to play in this. But also, I want to share with you today, thank you for everyone that's attending. I'm going to ask for all of your help to leave today and do one thing to support small business in our community. Are you willing to take that challenge? All right. So I'm hoping this has a significant ripple effect. But everyone that is joining us today here in the theater and everyone that is joining us today in the University Center is going home with a Go Local $20 gift card that could be used at 75 of our local businesses, many of them that you know and love. I know a couple of our business leaders are here today. So go out, use that gift card, get back in our businesses right away, right? They are hurting right now. Get in there, be kind, use the gift card, maybe bring your friends, maybe spend more than the gift card, right? That's part of the idea. And let's give our local business community a shot in the arm. Can we do that? Yeah. Thank you for your help. So with that, as I think about employment, we know that in our state, in our nation, there's a great resignation happening, right? This is a nationally documented trend. There's also a mass migration taking place. This last year, more people left the state of California than came into the state of California. We know folks are reconsidering their careers. This is commonplace after pandemics. If you look through world history, pandemics and major events have changed how people consider their lives and how people do things. But I want to share with you, it's not only folks leaving, but there's also a lot of folks that are coming to this community that want to be part of its future, right? And we need to move away from our localism and embrace them with open arms. And I know as an organization, we often mourn when people leave, resign, retire, and it's only natural. But I want to contend to you that we should celebrate them on their next adventure. And remember that even when they leave, they still take a piece of LTCC with them. And for many of them, they miss us too. Let's watch a short video from one of our friends.
What's up, Coyote Country? Do you miss me? 'Cause I miss you. I wanted to show you my new digs at MSUB. Miss Julie Booth! Hey guys, you're still with me. That's awesome. You know, I'm really excited to be the Director of Retention here at MSUB's University and City College campuses. And I thought I'd introduce you to some of my friends who want to say hello.
Hey, Clinton, what up? I miss you. You rock.
Look, guys, I'm even meeting new students. This is Emma.
Welcome home, Coyotes.
Welcome home, Coyotes.
Welcome home, Coyotes.
You can't forget me behind the scenes. I've been making the magic happen. Welcome home, Coyotes.
Right, so So we know folks have moved on, but we're still with them, right? And they miss us too. But we also need to celebrate everyone that's coming in. I could tell you recently, we've hired a director of online learning, an executive assistant to the VP of student services, faculty positions, director of technology. These are all people from out of town that want to be in Tahoe. So people are leaving, but people want to be part of this community, and let's embrace them with open arms. We know there's this interplay of housing in our workforce, right? And we're doing what we can to support the community-wide efforts on improving housing. But I also want to share with you some things we're doing specific to our employees. We now have moving allowances targeted for our out-of-area position hires. That was something we were able to do this year with the board support. We have been moving more positions to permanent from part-time hourly, such as our CDC aides. We've been moving more positions from full-time when budget allows and staffing needs require it, such as some of our M&O custodial positions, equity assistant position moving forward, and so on and so forth. This past year, we made some changes to our salary schedule that increased the top-end compensation for all of our employees. So we are doing things to become more competitive in getting people here, helping them through housing, and hopefully keeping them here. I also want to give a shout out to our Laura Ryland, our Human Resources Department. Yeah. The level of house finding or apartment finding support that we're providing is second to none. I mean, our team is out, the HR team is out at sites doing FaceTime for people out of town, showing them sites, sending over referrals. We are going to do our part to retain and recruit a quality workforce and help solve this housing crisis. So speaking of employment, I want to share with you two myths I often hear. And what's interesting, they're contradictory, but it's depending on the perspective that they come from. I often hear from internal candidates, folks who work here, when there's new job opportunities, LTCC does not hire internal candidates. But what's interesting, when I talk to people in the community, they tell me, it's impossible to break into LTCC as an internal candidate. So I said, let's see what the data says. I'm going to bring in my team of Mythbusters to get to the bottom of this. So we looked at the hiring data for the last 3 years, and I couldn't have scripted this better. The data was remarkable. Here's what it showed us. Over the last 3 years, about half our hires were external, and about half were internal, right? A little bit more external than internal, but about half and half. So I said, okay, let's just look at the last year. It's the opposite, about half and half, but a few more internal than a few more external. So what does that tell me about these two myths? Well, they're both busted. They're busted. It's not real. And there's all kind of myths like this that we hold on to at LTCC. We've talked about the ladder of inference. You take one little detail and go all the way up the ladder. And so this is a little series I'm going to be doing throughout the year. So if you have a good LTCC myth, bring it to me or to the member of the team, and we'll pull the data, and we'll see what the data shows us. So I encourage you to help me bust those myths. All right, as we transition forward, I want to talk a little bit about our virtual environment and now coming back to our face-to-face environment. To be clear, we got a lot better working in a virtual environment. But as you know, not all of us ever quite perfected it, like this individual.
You might want to take a look.
Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I can see that. I think if you click the up arrow next.
So my favorite part of that video is, what about Jerry Phillips? Is this the opposing lawyer? He's got to be thinking, I got this. But so we had to figure out the virtual environment. Now we have to figure out the face-to-face environment. My team invited me to a dress rehearsal yesterday in the theater. So I showed up dressed for it, and they're like, hey, Jeff, you know they could see your lower body, right? This is the outfit I've been wearing to board meetings all year long. I thought it was cool, right? Just up from the waist. But with that said, we learned a lot during the pandemic. And we don't want to go back to 2019, right? Let's not make it like, ooh, 2019, it was so great. We want to evolve into 2021 and beyond. And what are we going to do to that effect? Well, first off, help is available. We're going to continue to provide this help to our students, such as all the virtual services we created, being active on Cranium Cafe, Canvas shells for all our courses, the ability to flip a switch to go virtual immediately like we had to in the recent fire. We want to keep those lessons. Our partnership with Timely Care, We launched 24/7 mental health for all our students this past June, and now they have access to free scheduled counseling and mental health visits. We want to keep that. And it's not only our students, also our employees qualify for the Employee Assistance Program for mental health services. Also support to students. Checking out Wi-Fi hotspots and Chromebooks through the library. Yeah, that started during the pandemic, but we're keeping that. That's not going away. We also learned that there are some benefits of telecommuting. That's why the board approved a pilot procedure for this academic year to allow many of our employees to telecommute up to 20% of the time. So we're taking some of these lessons and bringing them back into the future. Also, many of the technology tools. I mean, Adobe Sign, can we stop pushing the paper around, right? Because we coming back to campus, we don't need to go back to how we used to do things. So let's evolve into 2021 with the lessons we've learned through this pandemic. All right, each year I like to highlight metrics that matter. These are things that we're measuring for our student success. The vision for success is something that comes from the statewide chancellor's office. It establishes a set of goals. You all should have received a handout with these goals when you walked in, but I want to hit a couple highlights. This goal 1 is about increasing all students who earn associate's degrees back from the baseline year by 20%. We're at a 28% increase, so we've made good progress there. But as you see, we had a little drop off during the pandemic. This next goal, this goal is like a thorn in my side. It's increasing our number of certificates, and we're just not making it. But I'm here to tell you is we need to get auto awarding implemented this year. There could be no other excuses. We must get it done. I know a lot of folks are working really hard on it, but we know students are earning these certificates, but they're just not getting them allotted to them. So we are going to take this goal on, and I'm promising you that next year I'm going to have better news to share on this one. Our associate degrees for transfer, the goal was to increase by 35% from our baseline year. We're up 56%, but again, we're still down in the pandemic. That's to be expected, but we're making good progress. Let's continue to do better. Increase the number of students transferring to four-year institutions by 35%. We've increased it by 20%. Still some work to do to move forward, but I like the direction. I like the trajectory. Decrease the number of units it takes. So ensuring students are taking more units than they need to get a degree. Our goal was to decrease by 9%. Our current is a 16% decrease. Our guided pathways efforts are working. And the final goal, and this is why we're here, right? Not just to give degrees, but to help get students jobs. Increase all students to achieve a living wage. The goal was to increase by 10%. We've currently, this year, just achieved a 13% increase. Great news for our students in the workforce. One of our other fundings is one of our other metrics is grant funding. So how are we doing? Well, we've made some progress since 2015, right? Look at that. These are many of the institutions that awarded us grants, folks like the Department of Education, but also local partners like El Dorado Community Foundation, Parasol, Tahoe Women's Community Fund. And last year, I shared with you that we were investing in putting bandwidth in grants development. And I'm here to tell you that that investment in that position is paying dividends. First, this past August, we were awarded nearly $1.4 million for our TRIO grant. This is going to serve 500 students each year at South Tahoe Middle School, South Tahoe High School, and Tallac to help low-income students graduate high school and enroll in college, right? Great news for our community. But there's more good news. Earlier this month, we also, literally like a day or two later, we were notified that we got a $1.5 million grant over the next 2 years to expand dual enrollment, right? So focusing in partnership with LTUSD to increase the college credits students get in high school and help them complete high school and college on time, right? Another bit of great news. We were one of only 4 California community colleges to receive this grant, right? 4 out of 115 or so. So pretty amazing. But guess what? That's not even the biggest news. So just the other day we were saying, wouldn't it be great if we had another big announcement to share? And guess what? We found out that over the next 5 years, we are getting a $5 million HSI grant. Oh. I kind of forgot that was coming. Right? So this is a huge grant, $5 million over 5 years. This is transformative. help is wanted, right? We are going to be hiring, right? These are a lot of positions in these grants. This is going to focus on providing STEM students wraparound student services, improving our math pathways, and it's going to bring world-class equipment to our science lab, including this. Dr. Banaz, I'm not sure where you're at, but it's happening. The anatomy visualization table is coming. This is the kind of technology that you would find at University of Nevada-Reno, UC Berkeley. We're now going to have it here at Lake Tahoe Community College, right? Cutting-edge lab equipment. So it's early, it's only September, but we're well on our way for 21-22 in bringing in the money. So I know it's tough to make investments, but they are paying dividends. So yes, we'll be hiring for these grants. Help's going to be wanted. So as I reflect on our work, and I spent a lot of time this summer, like probably many of you, thinking about what am I doing with my job, my life, this world. There's just so many challenges everywhere we look. And I would contend to you that there's kind of this triple crisis that we're looking at. We're dealing still with the COVID pandemic. We're still facing issues of racial and social injustice that are centuries old. And now we have this growing climate environmental threat, which we've seen very firsthand this year by these catastrophic fires and extreme drought conditions in our state. And so this is what we're up against. And, I'm asking myself, what can we do? Like, what's the purpose of our work here? Can we undo centuries of injustice? Can we heal our planet? Can we get through this pandemic? Can we make it right? So I want to share with you my vision and our goals to move forward, because this is not just a job, right? This is a purpose-driven mission here at LTCC. This last year and a half, I was able to participate in this National Aspen Presidential Fellowship. And one of the big things they encourage us to do is get very clear about why you do this work and what you want for your institution. So I want to share with you my vision that came out of that work. It's for us to drive social and economic mobility for our students with equitable outcomes for completion, transfer, and career placement in their chosen field, right? Why they went to school, getting that job. This is our work as far as I see it, and you'll see the goals that I'm going to bring forward and the work that I'm going to do is going to align to this vision. So we're kind of rounding toward one of the final pieces of our presentation is focusing on our goals of the year ahead. So here are our 21-22 goals. Our first goal is an emphasis on equity, aligning our policies, practices, and resources to support LTCC's mission to become an anti-racist and multicultural institution. This is not a new goal. Our board, I want to give them all the credit in the world. They have stepped up. They have passed resolutions. They have approved policies and procedures to renew our equity focus. We launched a Diversity and Equity Inclusion Task Force this last January. They are doing good work. They provided the results of their work to the president and the senior leadership team this August. A lot has been accomplished. They also provided a lot of recommendations moving forward. For instance, this is one example of something they did last year. At the height of COVID and the racism toward our Asian Pacific Islander community, they put out this campus-wide engagement to talk about steps that we could all do as individuals to help combat this racism in our community and in the nation. We also are making progress on Name Coach, right? This is a key step to being inclusive for all our students and employees. Here are the names, say it right. Antonio Benitez has been leading this effort. Here you see example Name Coach. And this is an important status update. And faculty, this is great news for us. All new students now are automatically directed to Name Coach upon registration. And when they use their school email, it'll automatically update Canvas with their Name Coach. We're also working on colleague integration. We'll have launched by this fall. So we should all be able to do our part to welcome our students with their name. Let's hear a little bit more about Name Coach from one of our students. Hey. I don't know, it's weird, it's not you. Okay, false alarm. I'll tell you what she was gonna say. Video worked this morning. Pivot. So this video is on our website. It's something that goes out to students, but basically says, every name has a story, whether it's cultural, whether it's a story from your parents, family member, and it's really focused on allowing all of us to do our name coach so we can welcome and include all of our students and employees to this campus. Another key outcome of the DEI task force was to identify a tool for a hate and bias incident reporting system. They have established this. A tool has been selected. It's called Maxient. In this academic year, they will be bringing this system online along with support from all our campus departments. So excited to share that as well. We also are making progress in our hiring and recruiting actions. Again, this is emphasis on having a diverse candidate pool, ensuring that the diversity of our candidate pool reflects the diversity of our community. We are moving from passive recruitment to very active recruitment, ensuring our advertisements showcase who our college is, who our students are, what we have to offer. We've joined the PRISM network, which is basically kind of LinkedIn for educators of diverse backgrounds, right? So as a way to outreach to make sure that our faculty is representative of our student body. We're doing a lot of social media outreach. We're gonna need all of you to get on your social media channels because these grants are gonna lead to hiring a lot of positions. We're also tracking our applicant pools. For instance, this is the initial applicant pool of English faculty, and just making sure first, are we getting diverse applicants in our pool? And then are we maintaining that diversity as we get through the paper screening? Same with our biochem. Are we doing a good job of reaching out to diverse applicants, and are we maintaining that diverse pool in our applications? And again, this is all about ensuring we have diverse candidates, and at the end of the day, we hire the best candidate. But we do know that there is a benefit, and there is research that shows our students do benefit from being able to see somebody from a similar background as them in the classroom and know that they can see that path for themselves. So what's been the outcome? Here is our LTCC diversity for our full-time faculty. 2021 is our most diverse year of faculty yet, so we're making progress there. But I think this next one's even more compelling. These are all our faculty hires since January 2017 when I started as president through today, and you'll see that about half of our hires are diverse. And what that means is we're just doing a better job of advertising, getting the word out, so we get the best candidate and make sure that the diversity of our candidates and our faculty reflect the diversity of our student body. Here are a number of the DEI strategies that have been identified for 21-22 through the efforts of the Diversity and Equity and Inclusion Task Force and by review of the senior leadership team. There's a lot of work to do here, and I want to encourage all of you to support that DEI task force. It's not just their work, right? They are the think tank, but we are the muscle behind the effort. It is all of our jobs. Can you join me on that? Our second goal is increasing student access and supports through expansion and enhancement of wraparound services, right? So we want to focus on that. One of the key elements is student scholarships. I know we have many of our donors and foundation board members here today. This year, almost $200,000 worth of scholarships giving out, right? Pretty amazing. I know many of our donors are on the live stream, so thank you to all of you. I believe that by next year, we're going to be in a place to double our 2017 number, which I think is frankly amazing. We also know students need housing now more than ever, right? Especially with the challenge of finding housing in our community. This is our housing property. Kudos to the board for taking a risk on this. It was a bumpy start with the pandemic, right? We went into the housing business, and all of a sudden a pandemic started. And like many local business owners, we were hit with that. But I'm happy to share with you that our current fill rate is somewhere in the 85–90% threshold. We're filling it up. We got a lot of students there. There's a lot of interest in it. So that is a key support we're providing for students. We also have our food pantry and our basic needs center, which became even more critical during the pandemic. Let's hear from one of our students that was helping organize the food pantry for us. Alberto, take it away.
My name is Alberto Morales. I'm a peer mentor for the Equity Office at LTCC, and I've been here for 3 years. Since March of 2020, I've been onboarded to work security for the college as well. There's check-ins, checking in temperatures for the beginning of COVID, but being on school and being in an educational environment it's always been helpful to me. So also do my classes, but also work on campus to get things done for my education. I've been working at the food pantry for about 1.5 years, and students just kind of have that resource and like security of food, being able to fall back on rather than have them missing a meal or something like that, which is pretty cool. What I do specifically for the food pantry is I stock the pantry up. Yes, it's time consuming, but it's always been really fun for me. It's that like Good Samaritan feeling where you kind of see the joy out of it when you deliver the food. I get to actually kind of interact with the students more. It was also actually pretty cool to see that we had it, because I mean, getting to see and getting to use it is actually pretty helpful, especially when you're kind of cut down on money or short on cash to buy some food. Before moving out, it was always a struggle for me and my family to kind of have some food, but I was able to kind of bring that back with food pantry, so it was pretty nice to have that fall back. So my biggest challenge over the last year would be possibly be away from everybody. The best thing that I've probably had out of COVID would be trying to help out a lot of students, and many students feel like they're alone, but we get to reach out to them and show them that the college is here for them. I mean, I would say the equity office has been the biggest support out of my whole academic career. I mean, just the environment, the people in it have always been so amazing. I'm looking to become a chiropractor, so my next step down the line for academics would be transferring to a chiropractic school. That's what I'm really hoping to complete. That one will definitely be a big thing for me.
All right, great work, super compelling student story. So what else are we offering this year? We're bringing online student self-service. This will take the place of web advisor, and you'll see this can allow students to do so many things on their own, check their financial aid, pay their bill, apply for graduation, etc. So we're adding more and more student supports to provide the help our students need. Here are a number of the strategies that we'll be doing in addition to that I'll share with you. A goals document with more detail will be forthcoming. Our third goal, and third is 6 for anyone who's keeping score here, is to improve student success and completion with an emphasis on equity. And what we know is that 80% of our students come to community colleges seeking to have a bachelor's degree. But in 6 years, only a third of them have transferred to a 4-year university. Right? In 6 years, only 1 out of 3 have actually transferred. This is national data, it's not just us. And then look at this, within 6 years, only 14%, right? Only 14% actually get that bachelor's degree within starting college. So we must do better. We need to support our students. We need to help them stay on the path. I want to now share another student story with one of our students who is on his way, completed his associate's degree, will be heading to a 4-year university. Let's hear from Ben.
I'm Ben Mitchelson. I'm a student athlete at LTCC. I'm from England, from a city called Sheffield. I'm on an F1 student visa, and I actually came for a visit. They were so welcoming when I first came here. It just made me feel a lot safer and happy. And I just fell in love with the environment. And that was a big selling point for me because I love to ski. I also love the summer as well. And the campus just looked really nice. I love the soccer there. Yeah, we've got a really good coaching staff. They've certainly developed my game to help me get to the next level, and that I'm grateful for. They got me into a job straight away as soon as I came here, which gave me a great income. I work in the purchasing department. It's a new experience for me, but it's one that'll help me for the future with my business because I'd like to own a company one day. There's definitely been some good that's come out of COVID in the past year. LTCC offer great programs in terms of scholarships for certainly people that are moving on. Some schools are going to be a lot more expensive. Depending what scholarship I get at that school, I might still need to cover money. So the programs they offer can certainly help money-wise. The office that provided me the most support was the one-stop department, but also the international department. Some of the staff members were Laurie Thorne. She was basically my mum out here. She came to all the games. And also Danny, he helped with my registration, but he's also a good cameraman and taking photos on the field. Mr. DeFranco is a great president. He's very supportive of my career at the college, and he also supports my team. Jeff DeFranco is always checking in on students that have transferred, seeing how they're doing. My best memory while I was at LTCC was probably the in-person classes. The teachers were really good. They were so helpful for me. Usually I'm not a big school person, just all about sport, but they actually help me enjoy school more, and now I'm like a 4.0 student, so it's going good. My goals, I want to go D1 for soccer, but also carry on my bachelor's degree in business. I've already got my AA degree, LTCC, so just carry on the education. I think my time at LTCC will certainly have helped me move on to a new college. It gave me the college experience and just made me more mature. And I'm really grateful for Tahoe. And I think it was one of the best decisions I made.
Hey, Ben, who's Mr. DeFranco? Are you talking about my dad? So I want to share with you, so that is one of our success stories, and we do have many, right? You're hearing some of them here today. But I want to also talk about our community, right? This is some community data. 30% of our community has some college, no degree, right? They started college but never got that degree. This is much greater than the state average, the regional average, and the national average. So what are we doing about this? Well, with the support of our board and a trustee fellowship grant, right, more outside money, you're noticing a theme here, we were able to launch this Reconnect to Complete program. We were able to hire Antonio Benitez as the program specialist in retention. And now through this project, we've identified about 400 students in our community who have some units but don't yet have a degree or certificate. Of those 400, nearly 50 of them have already returned to LTCC, and 2 of them have already been awarded the degree. So that is going to be our efforts. How do we go out and recapture those students, right? A little bit about them. You'll see that the students are very diverse, like our community. There are many different age groups. More than 40% are first generation, so it makes a huge difference to their families. And about 2/3 of them are Pell recipients. And so making a very significant difference for these students. All right, a couple strategies and outcomes that we're sharing with this goal area. And also now want to move on to goal 4, which is building modern facilities in alignment with the district needs and cultivating resources in support of program facility expansion. So first off, very excited about this. Our Early Learning Center is coming to fruition. This is going to provide a permanent home for the Tahoe Parents Nursery School program after 60+ years. And let me assure you, it's beautiful inside, right? It is beautiful inside. It is opening this fall. We're going to have an open community house later in the fall. We'll be inviting all of you to check it out. And it won't only host Tahoe Parents Nursery School, but it'll also support and host our Bridge Language Academy, which is a bilingual enrichment program. And as you can see, the youth of our community are going to have a brand new, beautiful facility to get their started off on the right foot at LTCC. And I look forward to the opportunity to invite you all personally into this facility in the coming months. Moving on, the Remodel for Efficiency project. As a reminder, and it's actually important to point out, this was made possible through Measure F funds, right? Our Early Learning Center. So thanks to all our Measure F supporters. This Remodel for Efficiency, it's about a $20 million project. Half of that came from local Measure F funds. We were able to go out and get $10 million from the state to match our local funds. This is going to modernize our science labs, our art labs, our student services places, our faculty offices. So new disability resource center. This is going to transform our campus. You can see all the areas that are highlighted behind me in terms of the color. Those are the areas that will be touched. It starts now, phase 1 over in the E-Wing for, through fall. And then eventually a huge portion of campus is going to be impacted. Also, you'll notice here on the west side of campus, a fire lane. So we'll have wraparound access on campus, again, to be a fire-prepared campus community. Our one-stop will be enhanced. We're launching a set of all-gender restrooms. We have faculty collaboration spaces, a new science commons. So there is a lot of excitement in what this is going to bring. But to be clear, the next 18 months or so while we're in transition, it's going to be tough, and I want to recognize, we got some of our faculty members are going to have to move 2 or 3 times. Thanks for your flexibility. Our art staff this fall, they're teaching their art classes in the costume shop over here. One of our art faculty members, Brian Urian, gets the Flexibility Award. His office is the dressing room in the theater, right? So we're all doing what we need to do to make this possible. But it's going to be the ultimate who moved my cheese exercise, right? So I want to encourage us to be flexible, to pivot, because there's going to be a lot of moving and a lot of shifting, and I know it'll be uncomfortable. But I want to remind you, and say it with me, it's going to be short-term pain for long-term gain, right? Short-term pain for long-term gain. Just keep telling yourself that. Short-term pain for long-term gain. So we're going to get there. And I've already talked about this. Our big facility project exterior this year is focusing on bringing these storage facilities to support our wilderness program, our fire academy, and our maintenance facilities. And I can tell you, storage facilities, I see past president here, this has been on our list for 20 plus years at this campus, right? It is finally becoming a reality this year. All right, moving forward, goal 5, be a leader in addressing issues of climate and sustainability, right? This is a very important goal to me personally. I want to be able to use my role and my work to make a difference, not only for our community, but for our planet. This summer, I went on a backpacking trip that I've done for 20 years in a row with my dear college friends, the Plumas National Forest. This was our drive out, right? Pretty sad. It's a moonscape. Clearly, a very high-intensity fire took this forest out. This is a place that we love. On our last day, the Dixie Fire wind shift, and we got completely smoked out, had to leave early. And I was thinking on this whole drive out, it's like, oh my goodness, I do not want this for my entire North State, the places I love. I definitely don't want this for Tahoe. What can we do? Well, we've already talked about the forestry program. We've already talked about the fire academy. Those are things we could do. But there are things environmentally we could do on campus. We've done the low-hanging fruit, right? We've done the lighting retrofits. We've installed the high-efficiency boilers. But we need to take the next step. And that's why this year we're going to bring in a firm to assess our carbon footprint and take our expertise to the next level, or what are some additional concrete actions we could do to lower our carbon footprint and be a good climate partner for this community. We were also a partner on the Greenway Trail, which is now open and operational to encourage more of you to ride your bikes to campus. We launched the Mobility Hub, which won the TELAC Achievement Award last year. Again, want to encourage you to participate in this bus transportation. TTD, we're supporting them in their electric vehicle or electric bus charging needs. We are developing a plan to bring electric vehicle charging stations to campus, right? So there's a lot that we're doing. Even our telecommute procedure is designed to reduce the trips to campus by up to 20%. Finally, we are supporting Clean Up the Lake, a group that is nonprofit that's cleaning up the lake. They're doing all their trash sorting and assessment on our campus. So we want to be a good climate and sustainability partner. We're monitoring our construction projects to reduce landfill impacts. Our new buildings, such as the University Center, are environmentally friendly, right, as is our new Early Learning Center. And we are going to continue to promote the use of reusable and recyclable materials on campus and eliminate single-use plastics. And I'm not giving up on this one. It feels like the biggest uphill battle ever, but we are going to stay committed to this cause. I hope you will consider joining me in this effort. So I got somebody's in. Our final goal is about responding to the COVID pandemic. I've already talked to you a lot about COVID, so I won't discuss it any further, other than to know that this is going to remain a priority for us as an institution. All right, as we wrap up, one of my favorite things to do each year is provide these President's Service Awards. These are given to students who not only were students, but who served the campus in some way, either through their student work, through their volunteerism, through being a student athlete. And you may have guessed this already, but this year's 2 recipients are Ben and Alberto. Ben and Alberto, can you come join me on? So I don't know if you knew this was coming. So, you've heard their story, so I won't repeat it. But, Alberto, not only has he been an equity mentor, he really kept the food pantry running during the pandemic, which I think to me was something that was very endearing and deserving of this award. And he works in security. I mean, talk about wearing many hats on campus. Wants to go to chiropractic school. I know that's going to be long and expensive, so we want to support you with that. Ben has been a student athlete. He's worked on campus his entire time. He worked on campus throughout the pandemic. He was kind of one of our essential workers at times. So both of them have went above and beyond and are so deserving of this award. But the good news that I have for both of you is that it also comes with a $2,000 scholarship. Yeah, you're welcome. But hold on. The scholarship is a contract to find yourself in that 14% of completers, right? To reach your goals. I got a chiropractor mentor for you here. We need to get you to that 4-year degree and get you through it. Could you commit? All right, awesome. Thanks, guys. I want to share that those scholarships are made possible through another generous donation we received this year, an additional $50,000 donation from Jan and Chet Pipkin to support the President's Service Award, scholarships, and other district priorities. Thank you to all of our donors. Your generosity is making a difference for our college and for our students. So we have one final award recipient. She's a face that many of you will recognize, was a great campus leader. She's starting at UC Davis on Monday, and so she wasn't able to be here today and do the fire. We weren't able to connect in person, but she and I had a Zoom conversation the other day, and I want to share that with you. So this is Mari, and she is our final President's Service Award winner. Let's hear from Mari.
Hello, I'm Mariela Jimenez Cardenas, and I served as LTCC's Student Senate President during the 2020-2021 school year. My role consisted of attending meetings, putting together agendas, and really getting a sense of what our campus atmosphere was like. I definitely did not expect to get so much out of it as I did. I liked having a voice within those meetings. I really liked being a part of what was being done and what was being said on campus. COVID, I know, was a hard time, not just for me, but I know that a lot of our students had similar issues that I did. Being completely online definitely was not the easiest thing that we all had to do. I mean, for me at least, it sounded really easy, and then it really was not. It was really mentally draining, so I totally get where other students are coming from, because it really is. It's mentally draining, it's mentally exhausting, and by the end of the year, you're just so excited that it's over. Going into LTCC, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, I knew what I wanted to study, but I'm like, how do I get there? So it was so helpful having these counselors, like Christy. She's my girl. She helped me get through the whole thing, like step by step. This is what you need to do. These are the classes you need to take. I got to make so many friends. Like, I got to make friends not only with my classmates, but I also got to make friends with administrators, which was really fun. Yeah, the relationships that you get to build at LTCC are definitely one and only opportunities. Like, they're so personal, and they don't feel forced, which is always really nice. So it feels like you genuinely have these people that care about you. So that's another thing that I love about LTCC. My parents are two immigrants who have worked minimum wage jobs their entire life. So getting me through college has definitely been a giant worry in their life, a giant worry in my life. So through LTCC, I've gotten a lot of financial aid. I've gotten scholarships, I've gotten stuff from FAFSA, which has been so helpful. If it wasn't for LTCC, I definitely could not have been able to work myself up here. Well, I am currently at UC Davis thanks to LTCC. So I'm going to pursue my bachelor's degree in history for my master's degree. And I'm going to do my teaching credential at the same time. So hopefully I'll be able to go into public education within the next couple of years. I really want to be a high school teacher, by the way.
Awesome.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Oh, we are hanging in there. So has your term started?
No, we start next week.
You're feeling ready to go, ready to start the term, fully prepared?
Yeah, for sure.
You feel like LTCC put you in a good place to be ready?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I feel like everyone's exaggerating about how hard, like, UC Davis is. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't know. LTCC was kind of hard sometimes, so I think I should be fine.
I think you'll be well prepared. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Cool. Well, hey, I just want to personally thank you for this past year. It was great. You're an important voice for students. I definitely appreciated our time together, our lunches together. It gave me some good insight, and also awesome graduation speech. It was so fun to be with you. And I know you also stepped up a lot as a student leader and the city council debate and all those different things. So I don't know if you know this, but we actually have this thing called the President's Service Award at LTCC. And it's an award that I'm able to give to a handful of students who not only are great students, but also kind of go above and beyond to helping the institution through their service. And I actually want to let you know that you're going to be one of our recipients for this year. So congratulations on that. And guess what? Also great news. It comes with a $2,000 scholarship check.
Oh my God, John! Oh my God, you're gonna make me cry.
So I wanted to be able to put this in your hand. Here, let me hand it to you virtually. But we'll drop it in the mail. Drop it in the mail to you. It's at the fire and everything. I'm bummed we didn't get to see each other in person, but totally understood. But
I'm literally gonna cry.
So well, that's okay. So we want to just thank you for everything you did, and hopefully this will give you a little boost to, ensure you get through UC Davis and get that degree and make us proud.
Oh my God. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You guys have done so much for me. It's like not only on an individual level, but you guys have done so much for me. The campus has been one of the most supportive environments I've ever had to be in, and thank you guys so much. I can't tell you how grateful I am for that.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. Happy to support you. And I know you have big plans beyond that bachelor's degree. You're going to have a lot of schooling ahead. So you're going to need all the scholarship money you can get. $2,000!
$2,000!
No, super fun. Great to see you. Super glad to give you this chat. You're top of our list. Top of our list for deserving recipients.
Thank you.
Just
thank you so very much for everything that you've done for me. Seriously, thank you so much.
Of course.
From
Mara, you make this job worth doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I'm gonna close the screen before I start crying.
Okay, stop. Okay, yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, hey, good to see you. Good luck. I'm sure you'll need it. All right.
Okay, that's
good.
Bye, Maury.
Bye.
I'm gonna leave it at the black screen. So I want to let that student voice just resonate with you for a bit and show you that our help is wanted, our help is needed. This is our work this year. Let's do this. Thank you. All right. Thank you for joining us. For those of you that are sticking around, there's lunch at noon, and we have a guest speaker, Martwan Williams, one of our TEDx speakers this year, doing a Tribe Called Us at 11. Thanks to all of our community members that came out and enjoyed us. For our staff, we'll see you back here at 11, or we'll say 11-ish, because we got kind of a late start today and we're a little behind. But thank you, everyone.
I need somebody help, not just anybody help. I need someone.